Hello everyone, welcome to Bajirao IAS Academy interview guidance program. Since yesterday we have been discussing the detailed application form that is very important for the UPSC personality test. And what are the aspects that we mostly focus on from the detailed application form? Because it is very important that there are few things, for example, the optional subject, for example, the interests, hobbies, and the awards, prizes, and the academic background, and your employment status. So everything is very important for your personality test. So therefore, we have been trying to analyze and understand the track record of the UPSC personality test and what are the major areas that we have to focus on so that we can get very good marks, above average marks in the UPSC personality test. It is very important that even if you score more than 10 marks, that makes a huge difference, right? So even 1 mark plays a very significant role in UPSC. So therefore, in order to get a desired service or in order to be in the list, final list, it is very important that you score very good marks in the personality test. So here at Bajirao IAS Academy, so we have been planning to guide the aspirants in a right path so that they can get good marks in their personality test. Okay, so we have been planning to organize the mock interviews for the candidates who have cleared their mains examination, and we are going to conduct the one-to-one sessions also with our experts so they can guide the aspirants in a right way. So the experts can find out the loopholes and the drawbacks, shortcomings that the aspirants have. For example, if you are a fresher, you need right mentor, you need right guidance, you need expert support. So here at Bajirao IAS Academy, we are going to provide that kind of an expert support so that you can excel in your interview preparation. Okay, so you can also get a very good marks, above average marks, around 190 marks in your actual UPSC interview. So in this session, we will be discussing particularly about the detailed application form and what is its significance and what are the areas we need to focus whenever we are attending the UPSC personality test. Okay, so firstly, understand what exactly is the personality test that is being conducted by the UPSC. Okay, so yesterday itself I have told you what exactly is the personality test, but if you look at the UPSC personality test, it is generally a half an hour exercise. It is generally conducted around 35 to 40 minutes or 30 minutes. Okay, so it is a game-changing thing in every candidate's life. So every candidate has a dream of attending UPSC interview. So therefore, it is not just a dream, but it is a game-changing moment in the life of every aspirant. So therefore, scoring high marks in the UPSC interview, it creates a lot of difference between you and your fellow aspirant. Even if you score more than 10 marks, it makes a lot of difference in your interview. So therefore, in recent times, there was a trend that aspirants have been scoring around, 140s, 150s. And there are aspirants who have been scoring around 200 marks also. Now, what is the main difference between the aspirants who have been scoring less marks and aspirants who have been scoring more marks? And even if you look at the toppers list, so they usually score around 180s, 190s, 190s. So that helps them secure a very good rank. That helps them secure a very good service. They are at the top of the list. So therefore, it is very important that you understand the nuances of UPSC personality test so that you can excel in your preparation for the interview. Okay, so this 30 minutes of UPSC interview is very important. You have to be well prepared, and you have to show your presence of mind in that 30 minutes to score very good marks. So therefore, even if you consider the final ranking that is prepared by the UPSC, so it generally includes the mains marks. Okay, so it usually includes UPSC mains marks as well as the interview marks. The the prelims marks generally not considered for for the final selection. So therefore, scoring very good marks or very high marks will ensure a final selection, and not just the final selection, but it also ensures that you will be selected with a good service, and that is very important. For example, if you wanted to get IAS, so you have to get higher marks, not just in a mains but also in the interview. Okay, so it is all about 1 or 10 marks game. So every mark is very important for UPSC personality test, right? So since I myself have given the interview, I know what exactly is the demand of the UPSC, what they are expecting from the candidates, and what mistakes I have done, and what are the areas we can improve on so that we can score a very good marks in the UPSC personality test. So first of all, I would like to tell you there are few areas. Okay, so there are few areas where we can focus, particularly for the UPSC personality test. So it is also very important that we must focus on those areas if we wanted to get a very good score in the personality test of 2023. So firstly, we should focus on the detailed application form. This detailed application form is very, very important. Around 60 to 70% of the questions are asked directly from the detailed application form. Why? Because the detailed application form, yesterday I have told you that it contains all the details about the prizes, medals, gifts you have won during your college and university days, and what are your extracurricular activities, whether you are employed or unemployed. So what is your academic track record, what are your interests, what are your hobbies, everything will be written over there. Which state you are from, which district, which educational institutions you have completed your graduation, your schooling. So everything is listed in the detailed application form. So therefore, it provides an opportunity for the board members to ask you questions from the detailed application form. So therefore, I would like to suggest you to prepare a detailed questionnaire on every aspect which is in the detailed application form. So for example, if I tell you that you have won a state level competition on bioremediation, okay, a first prize on state level competition on bioremediation. So since bioremediation is a very important concept in recent times, so you may get a question about the waste management and the role of bioremediation in the waste management, especially the solid waste management. Okay, so in this manner, you have to be prepared to address any sort of question which is based on your detailed application form. So you have to be full-fledged, so that what happens when you prepared everything from your DAF, so 60 to 70% of your interview preparation is over. Okay, so you will be very confident compared to your fellow aspirants. So that helps you score a very good marks. Now after that, the optional subject. See, you may not get questions from all the optionals. So there are certain optional subjects where UPSC members are more and more interested on. So since those optionals are very dynamic, they're not static, they're very dynamic. So what generally happens, the UPSC board members generally link those dynamic aspects with the current issues. And since you have taken that particular optional, you are expected that the answers should be, decent enough. They're not very generic, but they should be decent enough and they make sense. For example, if you have taken the PSIR optional, then you will be asked questions from different aspects. For example, India's neighborhood, India's Act East policy, India's Act West policy, so Connect to Central Asia policy, and India's approach to current global issues, for example, terrorism, climate change, India's relations with the major powers. So everything will be asked. You have to be very prepared. And in this particular context, you may have written some summary notes, some short notes. So just revise those notes. Just revise the concepts you have already prepared from that short notes. And when you revise those things, you will also read newspapers regularly. So if anything, if any news which is related to your optional subject, just link those things. So that will ultimately help you excelling your optional preparation, particularly for the interview stage. Now, after that, we need to talk about the current affairs as well, because current affairs plays a very important and a very prominent role in UPSC, particularly for the personality test. So around 40% of the questions are based on current affairs. Even if they have asked questions from the detailed application form, questions from the optional subject, so they mostly focus, or they mostly link the concepts with the current affairs, the issues with the current affairs. So therefore you have to be very well prepared. Now, going in detail, we will discuss what are the sources for the current affairs and how can we prepare the optional subject, everything. And we will also understand the importance and relevance of interview transcripts and what is the relevance of mock interviews for the preparation, right? Now, firstly, we need to understand the importance and the significance of the detailed application form. So I hope you have a basic idea about the detailed application form. So after the prelims examination, you have to fill DAF 1, and after the mains examination, you have to fill DAF 2, detailed application form 2. So together, DAF 1 and DAF 2 contains a wide variety of details about the candidate, so that it provides in-depth and detailed information related to candidate. So it not just having the academic background of the candidate, rather it is having a lot of details. Okay, so it provides an information about you, about your parents, and your schooling, the college where you have done, the university, and you excel in any sports, your extracurricular activities, interests, hobbies, and everything, your employment, everything. So because of this reason, if a candidate contains an interesting details in his or her DAF, then there's a high probability that UPSC board members will ask you questions from the detailed application form. So you have to pay a lot of attention to the detailed application form. So that is why we are stressing more and more on the detailed application form for the interview. Now, if you have your own DAF, first prepare everything from your DAF. Okay, so you have to prepare everything from your DAF. So if possible, you yourself pose few questions about your hobbies. For example, if you have a hobby of playing cricket, okay, so if you have a hobby, or if you are interested in watching documentaries, so you have to be very precise, very concise, very specific about that. Even if the board member asks you a question, so you will be able to answer the question. And if you have written playing cricket as a hobby, and if you are not able to address a question on cricket, then it creates some sort of a negative opinion, and that will definitely impact your overall marks. So therefore, be honest, very genuine, and make sure that whatever you have written in your detailed application form, try to prepare about that particular topic in a comprehensive manner, in a holistic manner, so that you can address, at least give some answer, the basic answer about that particular aspect. After that, whether you may be employed or unemployed. So if you are unemployed, then definitely you will get a question that why you choose civil services. So if you're already in a good post, if you're already have a good employment, So why you're choosing to become a civil servant? And if you are not employed, or if you're unemployed, then also they'll ask a question. So why you are unemployed after your graduation? So you have to be prepared for everything, and don't mug up things. It should not be like a cooked answer why you wanted to be a civil servant. Be very genuine, have your own and unique answer, because that creates a unique impression when you compared with the other candidates, because everyone giving the same answer. Okay, for example, the public service, satisfaction of conscience and everything. So if you have your own unique answer, and if that answer is successful enough to convince the the panel members, so then definitely you will score very good marks. So therefore, this is the relevance of the detailed application form, and you have to prepare a detailed questionnaire on this, on every aspect of your DAF. For example, your father's profession is also very important. If your father is already a civil servant, you may expect a question. They may ask a question about your mother. So everything is very, very important in the detailed application form. Now after that, I've already told you the relevance and the significance of optional subject. So every optional, you may have short notes about that. So just revise the short notes and link the current concepts, the current happenings with the concepts you have already read in your optional. Okay, so for example, science optionals have a very less chance, or you can expect a very less number of questions from the UPSC board members. On the other hand, the other optional subjects, so you may expect more questions. So therefore, you have to link the current affairs with the optional topics. Now after that, what is the significance, what is the relevance of mock interviews? Now after the results of mains examination are declared, every candidate almost gives 1 or 2 mock interviews. There are candidates who give more than 10 mock interviews. But it all depends on you yourself. If you're confident enough that yes, I'll face the board members, I can answer their questions in a confident manner, so then there's no need for mock interviews. However, the significance of the mock interviews is that they help in finding out your shortcomings. So what are the drawbacks a candidate have will be found out by the panel members. So they are very experienced. They know how you're answering, what are your mistakes while giving your answers. So everything will be pointed out by those members. So it helps you make improvements in the way you have been conversing with the board members. So therefore, mock interviews are also very important in generating much needed confidence, along with finding out your shortcomings and improving on those shortcomings. So ideally, one can give around 3 to 4 mock interviews. That's enough. If you are confident enough, then 4 to 5 around are enough. So choose the best institute and give your mock interviews as well. Now after that, the relevance of the current affairs is also very important for the UPSC. Now UPSC interview is all about these things: the current affairs, detailed application form, optional. Okay, so they'll not ask any question outside from this. So there are few things that you need to focus on. Okay, for example, if you have badminton as a hobby, so they may ask questions from the sports section as well. So you have to be very, very prepared on that. And a few candidates have right interest, like observing the macroeconomic phenomenon and observing the stock market. So these are also the hobbies of the candidates, so that you have to prepare news from the economy section as well. Okay, so there are few candidates who generally write that, so they follow the international events. So they read the magazines or the journals which contains the international news. So therefore, you have to focus on everything. So the miscellaneous things are less important, but rather you have to focus on the broader areas, the broader issues. For example, national, international. Now, when we talk about the national issues, so there are issues. For example, recently, the Supreme Court's judgment on the same-sex marriage. Okay, so why the parliament is reluctant, why the center is reluctant to frame a legislation on this same-sex marriage. So marriage is a sacred institution, we all know about that. Since marriage is a sacred institution, and in India it is generally considered that a marriage is not between two individuals, rather marriage is between two families. So in this context, you have to understand the multiple dimensions of these issues at the national, international issues. Now, when we talk about the international issues, so the Russia-Ukraine war, and because of the Russia-Ukraine war, the world has faced fertilizer crisis, food crisis, energy crisis. So you have to understand all those things. You have to link one concepts, one issue with the another issue. So you just have to focus on the broader issues and just leave the micro details, unless those details are related to your detailed application form or optional subject. You have to keep track of the events like science and technology as well. Okay, so if there's any major launch by the ISRO, you just have to keep track of that. And if there is any big achievement by India in the field of science and technology, so you must be aware of those things. Okay, so yesterday I have told you, expect the unexpected in UPSC interviews. So therefore, focus on the broad areas, focus on those things which I have already told you, so that it will definitely help you score very good marks. Now after that, we need to talk about the newspapers that we need to refer for the UPSC personality test. So two newspapers, that's enough, Indian Express and the Hindu. And if you don't have enough time, just follow one single newspaper, either the Indian Express or the Hindu. So I would not suggest read only this newspaper or that newspaper. So if you have time, you can refer both the newspapers, especially the editorials and the larger issues at the national, international level, and the economy related issues, and also the minute details if they are related to your place of birth, the areas where you belong to, and also they are related to your optional. So you just have to, but newspaper is very important, and it should be you must read one newspaper at least, right? Now after that, the relevance of the interview transcripts, right? So interview transcripts are very important because they provide a very important insights, very important details that what you should prepare. So what kind of questions that the board members are particularly interested, they're particularly asking. For example, if a candidate have a mathematics optional, and if you read the transcript of the candidate who have mathematics optional, then that will help you what kind of questions the panel members have been asking from the mathematics optional, so that you can prepare in advance. Okay, so these kind of questions the board members have been asking. So if I can prepare those things, I can address them in a confident manner. So that is the essence of the interview transcripts. Now I would like to suggest you just read few interview transcripts of previous years. But so if your interview is after 2 to 3 weeks after the first date of the interview, then you must refer the candidates who have given earlier than you, the transcripts of the candidates who have given interview earlier than you. So because generally what happens with the UPSC board members, they just repeat the questions which are asked by them for previous candidates. For example, there were themes like they generally repeat: e-governance, commercialization of education, national education policy, representation of women. So these questions were generally repeated by the board members across the boards. So therefore you have to keep track of these interview transcripts. There are a number of Telegram groups where the candidates who have already attended the personality test, they just post those things. So okay, so you can read those transcripts, and if you find any common questions, or any questions which is particularly relevant for your optional subject, so you must make note of that, and you should have a proper answer for that as well, so that when you are referring these interview transcripts, you get a chance to understand the sentiments, and you will analyze the sentiment of the board members. Okay, so luckily if the board members ask you the same question, so you can answer it, that question with much more confidence. So therefore that is very important in UPSC interview. Now, what is the significance of mock interviews for UPSC? So we have been emphasizing on mock interviews, and even the Bajirao IAS Academy will also going to conduct a mock interview for the same. So therefore, what is the significance? Why the candidate should attend these mock interviews? Generally, mock interviews help the candidate gain confidence, a lot of confidence. They can face the board with confidence. They can address those questions with a confident and genuine, honest answers. So therefore, mock interviews generally help you, they help you tremendously improve yourself over a period of time. So you can clearly observe the change from your first mock interview to your third or fourth mock interview. Okay, so I have gained certain confidence and I am able to answer these questions without any fear. Okay, so what you have to do in this is get someone to ask you questions in a mock interview manner. For example, you can contact any institute, or you have your best friend who already given the interview, so you already have your mentor, so you can answer questions asked by them. Okay, so that can tremendously help you in improving your delivery of the answers in the actual interview. And you can also practice answering questions by yourself. Okay, so for example, so you can pose a question and you can answer the question yourself, so that you can identify how you are answering the question. So, and the best method is that attend the mock interviews. It is very important. Apart from that, there are number of mock interviews in the YouTube itself. Just watch those mock interviews. For example, a panel member asks a question, so pause the video and answer, give your answer to yourself, and then play the video and compare the difference between you and the candidate who is giving the mock interview. So this is also a best method to improve yourself. Okay, so, or testing yourself. So after that, the more you prepared are, the less likely that you will mess up. So this is very, very important. So when you are prepared more for this interview, you will mess up less likely. So why? Because you're already well prepared. So you are ready to answer any sort of a question which is asked by the board members. So therefore, you will less likely mess up things in the actual interview, and that is the essence in scoring very good marks. So be very calm, very composed. So listen the question which is asked by the board members very, very carefully and answer those questions. Okay, so how to prepare for mock interviews? So this is the question that most of the candidates have. So how we can prepare for the mock interviews? So once we are able to prepare for the mock interviews, so then that will significantly help us in actual interviews. Okay, so in this, it is very important that you have to choose a right mock interviewer, a right mock interview panel, because not just conducting mock interviews for the namesake, rather conducting mock interviews to actually understand the loopholes, the shortcomings of a candidate, so that you can improve on yourself. Now after that, there should be a professional setting when you look at the when you attend any mock interview. So make sure that the mock interview have a kind of a professional setting, so that will help you understand things. So, and after that, provide the mock interviewer with adequate information. Okay, so I mean, when you provide mock interviewer with adequate information, it will help you it will help you that they will find the shortcomings, they'll find the drawbacks in that particular details, so that you can improve on yourself. So after that, prepare for all types of interview questions. So you have to prepare for all types of interview questions. I mean, all types of interview questions generally means that the detailed application form and the optional and everything, which I have already pointed out in the earlier part of this video. So take notes. So taking notes that once you have attended the mock interview and you have given your answers, now after that the panel members will give you a certain suggestions. So take note of those suggestions and work on those suggestions. They are your shortcomings, and if you work on them, so they will definitely help you score very good marks. Now after that, you have to dress in a formal interview attire. So even if you attend the mock interviews, so make sure you wear a formal interview attire. Okay, so that it becomes a habit for you. Now generally the institutes will film your mock interviews. So once you watch those mock interviews, so you will be able to understand how your body language is, how you are answering those questions. So everything will help you in improving yourself over a period of time. So therefore it is very important to attend these mock interviews, and we at Bajirao IAS Academy also conducting these mock interviews, and the details will be given to you. So please attend these mock interviews. We have expert members, and we will also have one-to-one discussion with the candidates who are giving interviews, so that it will help you excel in your actual interview. It will help you identify your own mistakes and improve on them. Okay, so from today onwards, from yesterday onwards, so in this interview guidance program, we will discuss the key nuances of this mock interview. We will also understand different dimensions of various issues which are in news, and they are very likely be asked by the UPSC. And we will also be planning to analyze the transcripts of the candidates for this year, so that so the UPSC has been asking these kind of questions, the members have been asking these kind of questions, and if you prepare them well in advance, you can score very good marks. Okay, so that's all for today, and thank you.